October 21st.
Back on schedule.
I did have a coffee hour last week. It was raining, and people still came, so I was
Is
impressed.
this at Clark Farm?
I thought I was just going to walk and look at the vegetables for an hour, but I had a ton of people come in on the 14th, about half a dozen people or so. And we talked about MBTA communities, of course, residency requirements for town committees. That's still something that's being talked about. Senior tax abatements, some of the efforts that the COHS has done, and some of these tax conversations continue to happen, always with civility and an ear towards democracy. So I enjoy these discussions. I'll continue them through the holidays. I think they help inform me on where the town is at, and as you can see, they kind of match the issues that you're dealing with as well. For the Human Resources Report, you were notified today of appointments of Jessica and Mark, our new Finance and HR Assistant, and Police and Animal Control Officer. Both of them come highly recommended and with a ton of experience, so we're happy to add them to the team. Mark is going to be filling the Animal Control Officer role, which was done by volunteers and part-timers and piecemeal. All did an excellent and professional job, but this should make it more sustainable over time as those people no longer want to serve in those roles. The two big recruitments we have are with police officers and COHS van drivers. Both are going to be a continuing recruitment, I think, for the next few years and maybe forever as we continue to try and recruit on the municipal side of the house. For department updates, this is kind of a big one. A lot of people are talking about this. So the speed limit signs in the town center, your safety committee did a good job vetting this with the police department, and to make it as succinct as possible, the town passed a town-wide speed limit I believe about 6 years ago, passed at a town meeting that said we're going to lower the speed in town. The problem with that particular MGL is it's only for very dense areas, and Carlisle really doesn't qualify anywhere as dense. The only places where you might get some qualification is school zones or other real safety-oriented places. So because we passed that law, some town officials did put signs in that were lowering the speed limit, but that wasn't done in accordance with Mass DOT standards. So when we went to ask them to correct other things, they said you're not in compliance. So because we're not in compliance in 6 different spots, we have to come into compliance, so then we can talk to them about the areas that we think should be lower, like the Rotary in the town center. So it's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of situation where the safety committee advocated for it, the police advocated for it, DPW advocated for it, but we need to do this. Because the signs changed and because Carlileans pay attention, we have been getting a ton of inquiries about this, and we've been sending them that same message. But the safety committee is committed to working on this quickly, and especially in the town center and other areas that are highly controversial for speed. In addition, the police are going to make sure that they're enforcing speed in those areas, because the biggest concern is if something goes up to 40 that people are really going to drive 50. We're going to try and control that as much as possible without being over aggressive. But
so you have to bring everything back to the pre-limit and then re-petition to bring it back down.
yeah, and we're not the only rural town that faces this. A lot of people try to lower their speed limits, but that's just not how speed limits work.
But what is the, like, why? Like, does the MGL debate it? Why do they care? Like, if it's gonna get to the same spot again?
Because I believe, this is just wild speculation now, that everybody would lower it so low that there would be a backlash to that. So people would lower it to 10, 20 miles an hour in their special town centers all around the Commonwealth.
So they do some, what they're saying is, whoever they is, DOT or something, they do some oversight of the practicality of what you're asking for.
Yes. And we've hit kind of the gray area, as we usually do in Carlisle and in the MGL, that there is spots where we need this, but it doesn't quite qualify. So we need to make sure that we have some study or some other metric that allows us to do this. Why do we care? We care because if someone gets pulled over, they can then not sue us, but challenge any of our speed enforcement, et cetera, because our zones aren't posted properly. So that's another reason for doing this and why the police were involved. So more to come on that. I'm sure you're going to get individual requests. We've had a couple dozen at least, which is a lot. And there's been discussions on all the places that people talk in Carlisle. The town clock repair, which is much less controversial, is now done and chiming again.
I like your graphic.
I did too. I was like, how many chimes over?
So that was Rob and Mark. And my favorite detail from their report was The bell strikes 57,000 times per
Wow.
year.
Wow.
It's been going for 130 years, so that's about 7.4 million strikes.
And it was
So how
also
much did-
very cool, the pictures.
I liked
that-
it, yeah,
and-
the
Yes.
way they
They
put a
went
bearing in
through
there, that was smart.
What they had
yeah.
to do, yeah.
That was very, very clever.
Yeah.
So how much did that repair cost total?
1,500.
So later during the liaison report, I got quite the
You can't
education
even
last night.
mic up
Um,
an auditorium for that.
Nope.
Even a tenth of an auditorium.
We should get them running the AV.
Sorry, you were asking.
I was just going to say, during our liaison report, I learned that we actually have a Gleason Clock Fund funded at about $1,500. Or maybe you already knew that. I got an education.
And it's for the, which clock?
Someone left the
We'll take it.
Gleason family left a clock fund for the taking care of the town clock at the Unitarian Church.
Oh, it's the church? Huh.
Yeah, this is part of the Town
Oh, it's a
Trust
union.
Fund
Does it
administration.
have a
Different than
chime?
this one.
Not the chiming one.
Town,
it's
yeah,
the-
that's exactly the same
It's the same
clock.
one.
one.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
FRS.
take it, take it,
one.
there you go.
So that's on the church, but it's our clock, and we do pay someone to maintain it every year.
But
Well-
we're saying, can't we use this fund?
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Great.
it.
Trying to go through all these funds to identify.
Put it
Yeah.
in the capital.
So, yeah, I mean, more later, but yes.
Every dollar counts.
So the clock is fixed, and I thought you would think that that repair was interesting.
Yeah.
It
Yes,
was. It was
definitely.
very interesting.
And you know,
Did you
I
send that
noticed
to the
when it,
mosquito? They would be in, they should publish that. little-
yeah,
I will. And
You
they
should
usually,
send that to Betsy. I bet they would like to run an
Yeah.
article like that.
they usually glean these reports too, so
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see something on it.
but I noticed when it started up
Mm.
again.
Sarah Hart's on. Sarah,
How does it chime 57,000 times a year? You
you have to count like
That doesn't
7,
sound- that's
8,
not right.
9.
Remember, they, you know, when
Oh,
it's like.
the
It's not-
11
cumulative.
a.m.,
Yes,
it's
yes.
not- it's
When
each
you say
bong.
times, you don't
It's each
mean
dong,
an event.
dong,
You
dong.
mean,
Right.
I see.
I respect that you did the math, though. That's-
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. No, it does.
All right, budget updates. We just had a preview of this before this report began, but we are finishing our financial forecast and preliminary capital planning model. This is informing the budget guidance. It's going out just after town meeting. And the first draft of the budget will be in front of you in the Finance Committee at your December 16th meeting. Also attached to this report is a draft budget calendar. By setting the town meeting date, we were able to fill in a lot of those dates. Some of them are familiar, the budget draft in December, the FinCom's marathon meetings in January, and then a couple months of your deliberations leading up to the town meeting warrant publishing. As I told you before this report began, early indicators suggest significant budget challenges. I know those come every year, but if you're really trying to put this budget in the multi-year context, if you don't make decisions this year, you're just going to keep compounding the problem in future years, especially as you take on these major building projects in town. The elevator project, we had to delay 1 week. It was our choice to make sure that people had the proper prevailing wage rates. Those are due Friday, so we're hoping to see final numbers for the elevator project on Friday. Brick building HVAC system continues to be scheduled. We're really trying to get that done before the winter. The town hall bathroom renovations, or the restroom renovations, those are out to bid. We expect to see bids by the end of this month. And the MFC is considering funding the whole project given the need for the plumbing repairs that you saw shut down town hall at one point. So the new scope includes replacing all that piping to try and prevent that issue, and if possible, an alternate to install pH balancers to make sure we don't have those pinhole leaks anymore.
Okay.
Cemetery mapping. It says new information on this report, but they began mapping.
That's 70.
They have a crew coming in with their equipment, and they're going to do mapping of the Green Cemetery. It's going to be very, very cool and interesting when that comes about. And Gretchen's heavily involved in that, so is Jim in that project, in addition to your cemetery committee. And paving will begin tomorrow. Pheasant Hill's going first, and then Thursday and Friday you're going to see Acton Street. And also they're going to fit in the facilities parking lot in there. The Banta Davis track, this is CPA projects. The Banta Davis track rehabilitation is now complete.
And under,
And under
and under
budget.
Under
got
budget.
less
Double
than
gold star.
projected.
Well, that was the other warrant article that fell off.
The rest of the CPA projects are at a standstill, and I can tell you it's mostly because of the staff focusing on town meeting. So should see a lot happen after November 2nd. For building construction projects, I don't have any significant information for the library renovation. Things continue to move. For the police station renovation, they have begun more substantial work this week and next. They had some slowness with permitting, but that was fixed, and they're now going to start with the hopefully the excavation part of the project, which is one of the most significant early phases of the project.
Mm-hmm.
The fire station renovation, there's a whole site dedicated to your work on the fire station renovation, including a tour. I believe you produced that.
Yep, me and the
that-
chief.
That video, people have been talking about it, the staff love it, so great job on the
Over
video.
700
tour.
views the last I checked, which is pretty good for Carlisle. Should monetize that.
Right, you got a new, you got a new possibility here for,
Our local influencer here.
Oh, no, I just used my iPhone. Yeah, no, I'm
All right,
enough
so
of these things. I know I can.
DPW is going to be one of your major, building is going to be one of your major focuses after town meeting. If
Yeah.
you want to meet some timeframes, so that's upcoming, but no new information. Some discussion topics you should prepare yourself for: continuing the personnel policies which were put on hold for town meeting. You have a scheduled tax classification hearing, your annual look at the tax rate. Spoiler alert, your projections in the budget were dead on last year, so it looks like our model is refined. The 27 budget, which we've discussed a couple times, and then evaluating me. Town sign notifications, we approved a couple, and they're in your packet as always. Nothing significant, normal signs in the Rotary, and we continue to make sure that only the approved signs are in the Rotary, which is a more significant task than you would think. People sneak them in there. For staff recognition, I have one today, Jim Hall. So my respect for Jim and the entire DPW staff is well known. I think they get a lot done, and you can tell they're one of my favorite departments. But despite his demanding schedule, Jim completed a series of professional development courses to deepen his understanding of the tree warden role, which has been both good and bad for me. Good because of the added expertise, and bad because he's immediately noticing all the things and costs we need to fix related to trees.
The tree capital plan. now.
Applied this, yeah, we're going to have a tree capital plan. Applied this knowledge in helping assistants to include an emergency tree removal, so it's already paying dividends. He's also responded to dozens of resident and staff requests related to roads, trees, and debris, consistently improving town services and enhancing public safety. Beyond these daily responsibilities, he's involved in several major initiatives, including the cemetery mapping project, the road maintenance plan, coordination with the Concord Bridge repair, the utility company projects, and multi-year planning for road and culvert maintenance. So a lot of our staff is irreplaceable. Jim is definitely one of those people. We're working on having a plan for when he's gone, but he says he's going to stay for a while, and that's going to be good for Carlisle.
good.
And besides looking at the fun pictures, I'll just remind of the town clock repair. I'll just remind the board I am gone Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. We have a whole plan in place to keep me in communication about town meeting, which has gotten a little bit less significant. But if you need me, I'll be available by cell phone. And that is my report.
Right.
Okay.